morning, everybody. Bayboy Views here. So I just wanted to leave you guys with another video, and I wanted to retouch up on what we talked about in the book, The Laws of Human Nature by Robert Greene. So I'm not going to continue on. I just want to do like a overview of what we talked about and try to put it into whatever we see in the news and stuff like that, because I think I just watched too much news, but all of this stuff actually made way too much sense to me. And you know, this is just a book that popped up and I ended up liking it. So let me go ahead and read a couple bullet points that I thought, you know, you guys can relate to. Hopefully the youth can take this and reflect on what they see on the internet or on the news, because honestly a lot of this shit is based on, you know, naive young people falling into a state of delusion and having an emotional reaction every time they hear something or feel something, instead of thinking things rationally and thinking of other perspectives. Okay, so these are traits that, you know, an overly emotional person can react to, depending on, you know, depending on how it stems from their past experiences. Okay, so people believe in things without evidence. So if you find yourself doing this, especially with the news media, because, you know, a lot of us would sit here and would believe that the news media, regardless if it's Twitter, regardless if it's, you know, Tucker Carlson, whether it's CNN with Dan Oliver, you know, do your own research before you start jumping to conclusions. It definitely helps to at least see both sides of the perspective. So if you hear one narrative, let's say from Fox, you know, go and listen to another narrative from CNN, go listen to another narrative about it on YouTube, another one on TikTok. You know, educate yourself a little bit. If you're into reading, go and Google it, or go on ChatGPT, ask them for information about it. Usually these things are right in the palm of your hands. So don't just believe things because somebody says it's true. Another thing, appearances can be misleading. So we all know that things that shine ain't gold all the time. Okay, so that one should be pretty simple. So for people that run off emotion, or people that love it when people rev their cars in like tunnels and stuff. I don't know, I love it. But these type of scenarios you can find yourself in some type of group bias, whether it's on an online forum, whether it's you know, at a protest, something like that. And this is when everybody has the same thinking, same belief. I don't know if you ever seen those videos of guys going in there with microphones trying to like have the other people see it from the other perspective, and you know, they start getting angry and then they start trying to destroy a private property, or like try to bully the person that's interviewing. So, you know, it gives you some sense of belonging. So when you're around that type of atmosphere and, you know, you just don't want to hear it, you got to remember that ignorance, or emotions stem from ignorance. So if you don't want to hear the other narrative, you're going to get emotional, you're going to want to get violent. Okay, another trait that emotional people, or that people that run off of emotions instead of rationality, is they begin to blame others for issues that they probably caused. Or so, like an example, you know, baby's been crying, you know, you literally just got home, she hands you the baby and then freaking walks away, and now the baby just doesn't stop crying. and you know, you changing the diaper, you did everything. She comes back in, and she's like, "Why the heck is the baby crying?" I'm like, "You gave it to her. You gave me her like this, you know." Just a dad one for you guys. And believing that you're better than others, very narcissistic trait, I guess. So again, I find this to be very true. So stress can bring out the truth of a person's character. So the book, it talked about how they put Navy SEALs and, you know, special operatives under an extreme amount of stress to see how they're going to react and if they're going to fold, basically. And a lot of the reactions that you're going to get stems from you as a youngster, whether it's a teenager or a kid. You know, when someone starts, let's say like someone starts screaming at somebody, and you know, you feel that emotional anxiety, and you're just like, I don't want to be here no more, you know, like that could stem from, like, you know, your parents fighting when you were younger, and you just want to escape the situation. All right. A lot of these stresses can come from great gains and great losses. So great gains, like winning the lottery. You know, a lot of rappers, they talk about how they how the money didn't change them, all that kind of stuff. So you can see that, you know, once people get money, you know, they'll start acting a certain type of way. And then random losses, I wouldn't say random, but like a divorce, you know, pretty big loss. You know, once you're in divorce court, you know, it's, especially if you're a guy, you know, you really get to see the other side of people. And you know, now you, especially if you got kids, now you're fighting for custody, now you're fighting for your kid. And 10% of dads are there's about only 10% of dads that end up with their kid. So, you know, not the other 90% lost to the system. So that should say basically the gist of it. So be careful before you have a kid. Put her under a lot of stress, see what happens. So 4 things that rational people do, not rational people do, but 4 things that he stated in the book that help regain your rationality over your emotion. So remember, rationality is the tool that we use to control our emotions. So to remember, you are a fundamentally irrational person, and emotions thrive on ignorance. So that's step number 1. Step number 2, examine why you reacted. Where is this reaction coming from? Can you pinpoint that? And can you deter your emotions from going from one place to another? Increase your reaction time, react slower, step back, think about it. And then step 4, stop trying to change people. All right. Said this before, we're gonna say it again. Stop trying to change people. Fix yourself before you try to fix anybody else. I like it that way better. I don't think that, you know, other people need to change for your narrative. I think that you need to change and take yourself out of a different situation. Okay. And change self-love into empathy. This is a very controversial thing for me, especially with the whole narrative that's going on in the internet. So if you don't know, you know, there's this whole self-love movement. It's usually more towards women, and I think that's why this whole red pill space actually opened up, and why it's becoming such a big thing, because, you know, self-love can mean anything. So, you know, say that a lady is unhappy with her relationship with her man. She decides, you know what, I no longer want to be with this. I no longer want to deal with you. I can find another man. You know, I love myself too much to keep this family together and to suffer with you, supposedly. You know, there are a lot of cases where, you know, the guy is abusive, or he's not family, which is not even an excuse, honestly, in my part. You chose this person, you got to stick with them, and if you don't want to, anyways, a lot of people will break up their families over this selfish, I wouldn't say instinct, but this selfish reaction. And to change self-love into empathy, to feel for the other person, I can see situations where, you don't have to feel this way. I think this is more just towards your personal life. And, this is more of a business book too, so towards business as well. But I can also see this in our social lives as well. So that is a part of the narcissism book of the chapter 2. So there is according to the book, there's a scale of narcissism, and wherever you find yourself falling within the scale of narcissism, usually there's 3 different types. So there's the first one is the control narcissist. So it's a control freak, somebody that is good at manipulating, someone that doesn't tell the truth or has to have everything their way. All right. Number 2, this was more of a moderate, but this is a theatrical narcissist. So a master of disguise, someone that wears masks, someone that doesn't exactly come off as genuine, someone that honestly could manipulate you. Just like, let's say a girl starts crying and you found out that she was talking to other guys on their phone, she starts crying, she's like, but it's nothing, shut the fuck up. All right. And then last one is healthy narcissists, so high levels of optimism and confidence. So these are the type of characteristics you find in somebody that's more of a leader. So we're not saying that narcissism is exactly a horrible thing. We just think that if you can rationalize and start seeing these traits, not just in other people, but in yourself, because I think that is the hardest thing to do, is to reflect on how you reacted in a situation without like recording yourself. So if you find yourself with high levels of optimism and confidence, and you're able to lead a team if you need to, that's a good thing. Keep that up. So on the scale, we got the deep narcissist, very reactive, self-righteous, rageful, and seeks vengeance. All right. And then in the middle, we got the functional narcissist. On the scale, we got the functional narcissist. Most people not always seeking attention, able to listen to others. So doesn't mean that they're going to be listening to you and they're good to you. Maybe they hear you and they can use something against you, but most of us fall within this functional narcissist, where we're able to keep some type of relationship with people, but most of the time it's just for gains, most of the time it's just for pleasure, most of the time it's just for convenience. But everybody is fundamentally flawed. We're just human, so don't judge yourself. Just learn and approach your situations appropriately. And a healthy narcissist, somebody that is empathetic and sees others people's views. Okay, if you're able to empathize with somebody pretty easily, and you can be happy for them, you can be sad for them, depending on the situation, and being able to see things out of your own foot, out of your own shoes, and put yourself in other people's shoes, you're probably on the right track. So he wrote down like 4 bullet points that kind of helps you realize the headspace you're in, and to help you from irrationalizing and becoming some type of rational person and taking yourself out of that narcissistic mindset. So to have an empathetic attitude, everyone is an opportunity to learn. They are new water, and to get your feet wet, everybody's got different experiences, everybody's got different points of views. So don't come off with your own views unless you listen to other people. So visceral empathy. So this one says body language and tone of voice. So if you're able to read somebody's body language, and this is more advanced, but when someone is genuinely happy for you, their eyes, they're like, oh damn, their eyes, their eyebrows go up, their smile really gets pretty big, the side of their eyes get a little cheeky. Those are pretty good signs that they're happy for you. But if they don't have an immediate reaction, just like it's pretty much a fake smile. Yeah. Tone of voice. When someone is in a situation that they don't want to be in, usually their tone of voice would get a little higher. So let's say that some boy got caught staring at a girl. The girl confronts him about it. It was like, hey, I caught you staring at me. What's up? They're like, oh, I'm sure people have been there before. Analytic empathy. So don't close yourself off from others. I find myself doing that a lot. Once I, don't like the situation, or once I kind of find myself getting, fucked over pretty bad, I just kind of distance myself from the situation, and I just kind of close myself off. But this is more for like once you meet somebody, don't be shy, don't be, become the character that you want to be, or you want to see. Become the person that is naturally you. And then this is more like, so this is number 4, empathetic skills. So ask people their thoughts, be able to relate to people, be able to be open. Joe Rogan does this very well, where he doesn't show any signs of judgment. He doesn't show any signs of, hate whenever he hears the wrong thing, because he has a lot of people on his podcast, and he doesn't exactly see eye to eye with everybody, but he, for the most part, does not judge. He, for the most part, does not get too deep into like debate. He doesn't, for the most part, get too argumentative with people that go onto his podcast, because at the end of the day, he just wants to have a good conversation with somebody regardless of their point of view, because he's pretty solid and fundamental in his own point of view. So if you're able to take yourself out of a situation where something could get you heated, like the Nazis never killed Jews in concentration camps type thing, like there's a real podcast about this type of stuff, and stand solid in your own point of view and be able to have a conversation instead of creating some type of debate or argument, you're on a good track. So that's all I got for you guys today. Hopefully you guys learned something today. Go ahead, you made it to the end of the video, shoot me a like, and let me know what you guys think. All right, peace.